Hello and welcome to Reason News. Today we're diving into a story that has gripped the nation for over 2 decades, the case of Donovan Moodley. The Correctional Supervision and Parole Board has recently approved his release on parole, a decision that has ignited a firestorm of debate and reignited the raw pain of a family and a country. The news broke this week, sending shockwaves across South Africa. The Department of Correctional Services confirmed that the Correctional Supervision and Parole Board had recommended Donovan Moodley for parole. However, it's crucial to understand that this is not a final grant of freedom. This recommendation is just one step in a multi-layered legal process. According to the department's spokesperson, the recommendation now moves to the National Council for Correctional Services. This body will review the case, assess the board's decision, and then provide its own recommendation to the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services. It is the minister who holds the ultimate authority to either approve or deny the parole application. To truly grasp the weight of this decision, we must revisit the original crime. In July 2004, Donovan Moodley kidnapped and murdered 21-year-old Bond University student Leigh Matthews. Moodley extorted a 50,000 rand ransom from her father, Rob Matthews, before murdering her. He was arrested and in 2005 pleaded guilty to murder, kidnapping and extortion, receiving a life sentence for murder and additional sentences for the other crimes. He began serving his life sentence on the 4th of August 2005. The case became a national obsession, not only because of its horrific nature, but also due to Moodley's ever-changing narrative. Despite pleading guilty, he later filed multiple appeals, claiming he was not the sole perpetrator and that he was framed. His litigious history has been a constant source of anguish for the Matthews family and a complex challenge for the legal system. This latest development follows a previous parole hearing in which Moodley was denied release, and a psychologist who supported his parole was found guilty of professional misconduct for her evaluation. The parole process for a life-sentenced offender is inherently complex and designed to be meticulous. Here's a video from ENCA.
The Correctional Supervision and Parole Board has approved the release of Donovan Moodley on parole. He kidnapped and killed Leigh Matthews back in 2004. Moodley's case still needs to go back to the National Council for Correctional Services for final consideration. The final say on whether he actually leaves prison lies with Correctional Services Minister Peter Groenewald. Moodley killed Matthews despite her parents having paid a 50,000 rand ransom. A municipal worker discovered her naked body in southern Johannesburg. Moodley pleaded guilty to the charges and was sentenced to life in prison.
The Correctional Supervision and Parole Board's role is to assess whether an offender has been rehabilitated and no longer possess a risk to society. This assessment includes reviewing the prisoner's conduct in jail, their participation in rehabilitation programs, and their psychological reports. However, the legal system's priority is not just the offender, but also the victims. The Matthews family has vehemently opposed Moodley's release, citing his lack of remorse and his constantly shifting version of events. Their legal representative has stated that the family believes he is still a danger to society and that his release would be a travesty of justice. This case forces us to confront fundamental questions about our justice system. What is the true purpose of a life sentence? Is it solely for punishment, or does it also serve a rehabilitative purpose? Should the feelings of victims' families be a decisive factor in a parole decision, or should the decision be based on an objective legal criteria? These are not simple questions, and there are compelling arguments on all sides. While the law dictates that a life-sentenced prisoner becomes eligible for parole after a certain period, the public's emotional and moral response to a case like this cannot be ignored. The potential release of Donovan Moodley reignites the debate on whether our justice system is truly serving justice for all and whether a life sentence should in fact mean life. As we've seen, the approval of Donovan Moodley's parole by the Correctional Supervision and Parole Board is far from the final chapter in this long and painful saga. The next steps will be critical as the National Council for Correctional Services and ultimately the Minister of Justice weighs the legal merits of the recommendation against the enduring pain and opposition of the Matthews family and a concerned public. Reason News will continue to follow this story closely, providing you with factual updates and thoughtful analysis. For now, we thank you for tuning in. Until next time, stay informed, updated, and curious.